Welcome to lesson one. What is the blockchain? So, we're going to cover quite a bit in this lesson, and this is what I hope you learn by the time we finish the lesson. So, the lesson objectives: brief history of blockchain invention. I would like you to understand a little bit about the history of the blockchain invention and have a basic understanding of blockchain technology, so you understand what blockchain technology is, and also learn some benefits and use cases of blockchain technology. I advise you to have a pen and paper, as there would be some words and technology terms that you may be hearing for the first time. So it may be best for you to write it down and their definition. So as we refer to the same words throughout the course, you can always go back to your notes and know what we're talking about. But eventually, as you hear these words over and over again, you would become familiar with what they mean and you won't have to refer back to your notes. So without further ado, let's get started. So who invented the blockchain? So in 2008, at the start of the financial crisis, the blockchain was invented by someone by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, the true identity of Satoshi Nakamoto is unknown, as the name itself is a pseudonym. It's not the person's real name, and whoever Satoshi Nakamoto is, whether it's a he, she, they, whoever Satoshi Nakamoto is, all we know is that he, she, or they have no interest in being famous because they've been out of the scene for a very long time now, ever since inventing Bitcoin and blockchain. They are not in the limelight. So what is a ledger? A ledger is basically a record of transactions that has taken place. Example, money received or paid. So anything that keeps a record of transactions that's being made is called a ledger. So an example of a centralized ledger. First of all, what does centralized mean? If something is centralized, that means it's controlled by a single entity, whether that entity is a system, a company, an authority. It's controlled by a single entity, and that is what centralization is. So when people send money to each other, who has control of the record keeping of those transactions? We should know because we make payments all the time as people, and for the most part, what do you use to make your payments on? We use a bank to make our payments with, and this is an example of a centralized ledger because only banks have access, have control over the record keeping of the transactions that are being made. It's not made public. All we are able to see are the transactions that we make with our own personal account, but the actual amount of transactions that are being made by your bank, we don't know, only they know, because the ledger is private and it's controlled by them only. So what is blockchain technology? Blockchain technology enables decentralized and distributed record keeping. So decentralization is basically the opposite of centralization. So if something is decentralized, it does not have a single authority or entity that controls it. Rather, nobody controls it because it's decentralized. Everyone and anyone has access to it. So blockchain technology enables decentralized and distributed record keeping. So it's basically a decentralized ledger. That's what blockchain technology enables, a decentralized ledger. In other words, it's opposite to the banks, and what the banks do, they have a centralized ledger. Blockchain technology enables a decentralized ledger which anyone and everyone can have a copy of, access, and even download. Anyone can download a decentralized blockchain ledger, and they can download it from beginning, and they can see transactions being added in real time, and that is what makes it decentralized, and that is what blockchain technology allows or enables. So blockchain involves a large network of computers working together to confirm ownership, record and distribute digital information. A computer that has a full copy of the transaction history of a blockchain is called a node. So very important, if you need to write that down, write it down. So what is a node? A node is a computer that has a full copy of the blockchain's ledger. So if you have a computer and you have a full copy of that blockchain's ledger, all the transactions that have ever taken place, you have that a copy of that on your computer, then you are a node. So nodes connect to each other and share up-to-date blockchain data with each other. As you can see in the diagram, all those computers, they are all connected to each other, and they are all sharing information with each other, and they are all nodes. And that's what makes blockchain technology distributed, because the nodes share that information with each other, and that's what makes it decentralized as well, because anyone and everyone can be a node and have a copy of the ledger. Anyone can be a node by simply downloading the transaction history of a blockchain, in other words, the ledger. So the more computers in the blockchain network, the more decentralized and stronger it becomes. So the more nodes there is within a blockchain network, the stronger it is. So if you imagine having a blockchain network with 10 nodes and having a blockchain network with 10,000 nodes, which one is more decentralized? Which one is stronger? Which one has better security? Which one would it be harder to destroy? Of course, the one with 10,000 nodes across the world, that will be harder to take down, destroy, because of how decentralized it is, compared to one with just 10 nodes scattered across the same town, for instance. So digital data on the blockchain cannot be tampered with or hacked, as it is protected by secure cryptography. A blockchain cannot be shut down by any authority. Why? Because it's decentralized, and there is no single point of failure or one central point of failure for any authority to shut down. You cannot shut down, imagine a blockchain network with 10,000 nodes as spread out across the world. No authority would be able to shut that down, even if they wanted to. That is because there is no single point of failure to attack, and every node in the network has a copy of the database, a distributed ledger. And just compare that now with banks that have a centralized system and ledger. They can be shut down, or their centralized system can be attacked, because it's just one point of failure. Wherever they keep their database, where they store their ledger, their data centers, if they are destroyed, then it would affect the bank. Whereas in the case of blockchain technology, because the ledgers are run on nodes that are decentralized, scattered around the world, and that means in order to really destroy the blockchain, you'd have to take down every single node that exists, in comparison to just destroying one data center where people keep their servers. So in the word blockchain, the block refers to the digital information recorded. So the block refers to the data that is recorded, and the word chain refers to the public ledger or database. So the data is recorded in a public ledger or database. So it is basically cryptographically protected digital information stored in a public database that is distributed across a network of nodes around the world. And that's what a ledger is: information that's protected cryptographically, that makes it not possible for people to tamper with, alter, hack. And this cryptographically protected data is stored in a public database that anyone can have access to, anyone can have a copy of, and this database is shared across a network of nodes around the world. This database is shared around the world by anyone running a node, and that's what a blockchain technology basically is, and that's what blockchain technology enables. So this information can't be hacked into, cannot be tampered with, altered, stolen, deleted, or lost. To destroy the blockchain, it would require every node in existence that has a copy of the ledger to be destroyed. Very hard to do. So imagine those points in this picture, in this image, and every single point is a node. And in order to destroy the blockchain, you would have to destroy all those nodes, and these nodes are scattered across the world. Nobody won't be able to shut it down, especially when the nodes grow into the thousands. So this is the power of decentralization that makes it more or less impossible to shut down a blockchain. So what is the first use case of blockchain technology? So we know blockchain technology was invented in 2008, but what was the use case? The first use case was digital currencies, also known as cryptocurrencies, and in other words, cryptos. So people just say cryptos for short, and cryptos are able to be built on top of blockchains as tokens. So that's the first use case of blockchain technology, is the ability to use digital currencies. So the first ever use case of the blockchain technology was the Bitcoin cryptocurrency, and that was invented by Satoshi Nakamoto, and that's the logo of Bitcoin. It's known by that logo right there. Now the Bitcoin blockchain has been operating since 3rd of January 2009 with no one in charge. Just think about that for a second. We have a system, the blockchain itself, that's operating since 2009, and there is no one in charge of that blockchain. It's amazing. So how do people usually send money? So the conventional method of making a financial transaction between two people is usually via a bank or a payment processor. And you would have the bank or the payment processor as the middleman. So both parties would need to trust the bank or the third party, whatever you're using, to make the transaction happen, and also to look after and protect their money. And they trust that the third party would be able to access their money and facilitate the transaction for them. So that's how transactions usually happen conventionally, is that it requires a middleman, unless you're using cash. If you're using cash, then you just pay directly with someone to someone. But if you're making a transfer, then the conventional way is you need to go through a middleman. or third party, and both of you need to trust that middleman in order to facilitate the transaction for you.